Welcome back then folks to the second build of pack number 14. Of course, earlier on today we did a build for the Racing Gallardo, the West Yokohama. Now we're featuring a different replica, kind of, from a different game, a Project Cars race car. Instead of a Forza 4 reference, this time around it's a fictional, if I recall correctly, RUF RGT-8 GT3 car from Project Cars. Now, I've never driven this car in Project Cars because I haven't played the game too much, only very fleetingly, but it's a very cool looking car, and this is using, of course, the RUF RGT 4.2 as a base. You can get pretty damn close to the specs, and spoiler alert, out of all of the 10 in this week's particular pack, this might be the best one. This car is insanely good through corners. It is so good through corners, even with the new physics. It's possibly one of the best builds I've done, period, in special projects in terms of just how enjoyable it is to drive and how potentially hyper useful this is, because if you take a quick peek to that point level, it's 695 as well. So not only is it a great replica of the specs in Project Cars, it's right on the money to be a moneymaker as well if you wanted to. I'm not sure about fuel economy, so don't quote me on that one, but obviously there's no wide body to worry about on this one, because I mean, imagine if this had a wide body on top of the wide body. It'd be like the widest thing in the game. But of course, I will have put a link as shown on screen in the description to download this livery from the player who did it. Great job that they've done there. As far as the stuff which we fitted, in the Ultimate section, we can skip there. There's no crazy weight loss or anything like that to worry about. For the sports stuff, you want your stage 1 weight. Of course, it has sports mediums anyway. As far as the club sports section, you want your stage 2 weight. Incidentally, just to jump back, I believe it already had the sports silencer, so don't worry about doing that. For the club sports stuff, stage 2 weight, power restrictor, ballast. Then for the semi-racing stuff, you want your fully customised ECU, fully customised diff, stage 3 weight. As I often do, I have not bothered to do the rigidity. As you can see on this one, it lowers the points a little bit anyway, so I'll leave it up to you if you want to give that a try. If you personally like to do it to your cars, then absolutely go for it. We've got the racing silencer and the manifold, because even though we are reducing the power, just like the LP560 earlier today, it's more so for the look and for the sound. You know, you want it to look and feel like a proper race car, even if you have to restrict the power a bit. As far as the brakes, like I said before, you could go for the carbon ceramics, the drilled, the slotted. I like to go for the drilled usually. And as far as the brake pads, of course, we've got those racing ones as well. Likewise with the suspension, the clutch, and the transmission. I've gone for racing hards, as I usually do for my racing replicas. The steering angle adapter, I've slapped the hydraulic handbrake on there because why not? You don't really need to, but it's just for a bit of fun. And for the ultimate stuff, like I said, there's nothing fitted there. So it's a dead simple tune to do. This is so affordable in terms of the build. The car itself isn't the cheapest thing around, but jumping into the tuning parts for this one, you want your hards fitted, of course. For the ride height, 55mm front and rear, 4 for the anti-roll, 25 for the compression, then 45 for the rebound on the dampers, 3.65, so very high on the springs, 3 degrees of camber, 0.10 out toe on the front, 0.20 in on the rear. As far as the diff, triple 30 for this one. Give that a try and see what you think. I mean, I don't think you'll need to be changing too much about this car. Not to toot my own flute, but like I said, this thing is ballistic through corners. It feels almost like a four-wheel drive car, to be honest, but in a good way. As far as the transmission, I've gone for 350 kilometers an hour. This car does seem to have a bit of a weird thing where it will kind of, and this is the reason why I stretched the gears, I think I had it on like 320, 330 initially, something like that, but it was kind of redlining in 5th, but then not changing up. Because I like to usually use the automatic, as I've said before, and the auto just wasn't changing up a gear for some strange reason. So I've stretched that out a little bit. If you just drive manual anyway, you could absolutely just go for the closer ratio, it doesn't matter. As far as the ballast, you want 87 kilos, because you'll have guessed this anyway, but we are using Project Cars as a reference for both the power and the weight, and also for the distribution as well, if I recall correctly. So 42.58 as far as that weight distribution, 87 kilos to bring us up to the correct amount, 90% on the ECU restrictor to bring us down to 506 horses. I don't recall exactly what it had in Project Cars. I think it might have been 505, something like that, so it's pretty damn close. As far as the downforce, as I often do, it is a grip build, so I've gone for the highest settings there. And over here, you can see all the stuff we've fitted. So, just like with the Gallardo and every other build, we'll jump out to the circuit now to show you what it can do in practice. If you've got an RGT that you're not using, I mean, fat chance of that, but if you do, or if you just want to buy another one, it's like 300 grand anyway, so it's not breaking the bank. I mean, this thing could come in very, very handy for the right player. It is such a pleasure to drive, and this car, as I said, I believe, in my review of it, even with like 900 and whatever horsepower, it's such a pleasure to drive. It's strangely easy to drive, and it's properly quick, especially for tight circuits. So if you do use this one, certainly in conjunction with the Gallardo from earlier on, I mean, even if you didn't do any of the other builds this week, these two alone, you'll get a lot of fun and potentially a lot of use out of them as well. So stick around for the rest of the builds this week. Of course, check out the other ones which I've done in the past if you're new to the channel, and for now, thanks for watching.